Hello. Listen, I'm sorry we were late. We had technical difficulties. I'm really sorry. We had a panicky few seconds there, didn't we?
Yes.
Thinking that this mightn't happen at all.
I'm still not sure if we're happening.
Okay.
All right,
we are happening. Thank you so much for your patience. And listen, because it's Thursday night and it's 8 o'clock, I know that an awful lot of people in Britain are out cheering the national health, and that has to be done. And so we'll kind of tread water and we'll chat amongst ourselves for the next few minutes. So I'll just do housekeeping while we're doing that. Tonight has been brought to you by At Home with 4 Indies, and they are Lingham's Books, Booka, Forum Books and Bookish. And thank you very much to the 4 bookshops for setting this up. And copies of Grownups are available in their shops right now. And joining me tonight is my colleague and chum and best person in the whole world himself. And he will interview me for a short while, and then I'll read a little bit of the book for you, and then I will answer your questions. So I'm just wondering how we're doing for time now.
I think we're probably okay.
Do you think we're okay to start?
I'll ask you your favourite question.
Okay.
Tell us about your nieces.
Okay, that is my favouriteest question in the whole world. I have 2 nieces, one who is going to be 20 on Sunday, and I love her with every fibre of my being. And I didn't think it would be possible to love another niece as much. And then Hannah arrived 2.5 years ago, and she is so different to Emma, in that, like, Emma is just a very kind of tranquil and calm person, and Hannah reminds me of Animal out of the Muppet Show. She is like an explosion of activity and joy, and they're both just, I feel so lucky that they are in my life. That was a lovely question.
Yeah,
yes.
Let's start with the easy ones. Okay, so the next question. When you started writing Grownups,
yes,
same with all your books,
yes,
you told me
yes,
you'd be doing a little short one this time.
Yes.
What happened?
I did. Well, you see, I really try not to write the long books. I really try. And I feel incredibly ashamed, actually, that I can't just streamline characters and just kind of, do a nice, sleek, quick book. And because Grownups is very plot-ish, the plot came to me before the characters, and that's unusual for me. So I thought, this is fantastic, because the structure of the book is like, it's over 6 months and it's very episodic. Like, there's kind of 6 main chunks in the book. And I thought, I know what needs to happen in terms of events. It's very event heavy. And I thought, if I just write this from my head rather than from my instinct or my gut or my heart, I could really do a quick one. And it has long been, a wish of mine and yours that I would write fastly. And that really was my intention. But it just seems to me impossible. If I write about anyone at all, I'm too interested in them to just let them go in a sentence. And I'm really sorry. It was quite a long one. But maybe the one I'm writing now, that might be quick.
Or then again,
maybe it won't. It probably won't, because, I suppose I am trying to make peace with the fact that these are the kind of books I write, and a lot of people seem to like them.
They do. I think one thing that struck me is Grownups has been very successful, and it's about families again.
Yes, yes.
Do you like writing about families best?
I think I do. And I think it's because of the family that I come from. I love the energy of us all together. Like, I love the chaos and the noise and the rudeness, and just everybody is entirely themselves. And we have strong personalities, but we have a lot of different views. And it makes me so happy to be in the middle of all those people, that I think that's the energy that I keep trying to recreate in my books. I feel so lucky to be from the family I'm from, that's what I want to recreate. That's a lovely question. Like, that is what I want to do, because it is such fun being with them. Very
Excellent.
Good.
But it does mean you end up with a lot of characters.
It does. But look, what do they say? stay in your lane, slay in your lane. This is my lane. And it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do anything other than be in it.
That's it. Do you have any regrets about Grownups?
I have one regret. And, you know, every writer, I suppose, is in a process of learning from the mistakes they made in their previous book. As time has gone on, I have really tried to dispense with the idea of goodies and baddies, because I think every human being is a mix, you know, a nuanced mix of, you know, wonderful characteristics and really kind of base instincts that we might be ashamed of. And very much in the break, I really tried very hard that, you know, even though Hugh is doing something terrible, he's, you know, he's hurting Amy, but he's not a bad man. And I really liked writing that kind of nuanced person. But there is one baddie in Grownups, and I felt that he was necessary because of the way the plot plays out. But I think the next time I'm going to try and investigate any possible baddies and try and redeem them in some way. That would be my one. And any of you who've read the book will know who I'm talking about. And if you haven't read the book, I don't want to say anything to give it away. But and still, you know, the book works fine with the bad man. I would hope not to do that again.
And who was the hardest character to write?
The hardest character to write was Cara. And again, I'm sorry for spoilers, but you find it out fairly early. She has an eating disorder, and it was very important for her to be more than her eating disorder. And anyone with an addiction lives with an awful lot of self-hatred, and that's kind of hard to write about a person with that kind of internal dialogue going on, because a lot of people will read that and think, you know, people who may not have lived through something like that themselves, and they go, oh, stupid girl, you know, snap out of it, one of the snap out of it types. And Cara had to be written in a way so that hopefully you could feel her torment or kind of the conflict that she lived with, but not to be annoying or irritating either. She took a huge amount of work, like right until the very last second, the day that everything stopped and was going to print. I was still ringing my editor and saying, but look, do you not think? And you had to talk me down, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Yeah, he was very good at talking me down.
Otherwise, the book still wouldn't be out now.
No, it wouldn't.
She wasn't going to let it go.
I wasn't. No,
to drag it out.
I wanted to do it right. You know, it's really important. You know, you're so good. You trust me and you spend your money buying my books, and it's the least I can do to try and do the best job I can do. So will we take some of your questions now?
Oh no, not yet.
Oh no, okay.
Well, we can do.
Okay, it's quite early actually. It's only 11 minutes past. I'm really sorry. You know, in these strange days, I don't really know what day it is. And time goes really weird as well. Like I seem to spend entire days where the time just stretches out and I achieve nothing. And yet the days go really fast. You know, suddenly it's Wednesday again. Wednesday's the worst day of the week because that's the day we do our cleaning. Mm-hmm. And it seems to be perpetually feckin' Wednesday, doesn't it?
It is always.
It is always. We wake up and it's Wednesday again.
Yeah. All right. No, can we take a question?
Okay.
Okay. So, Carrie asked. She's really pleased to see that you're chair of the Comedy Women in Print Award. And why is women's comedy writing so underplayed and misrepresented?
Why is women's comedy so underplayed and misrepresented? The patriarchy is the long and the short of it. You know, like this myth has gone around that women aren't funny. And I think what is happening here is that women find different things funny to the things men find funny. And women have been making women laugh since the dawn of time. But a man, there isn't always subject matter that he will identify with. You know, from their privileged position, they're not going to understand things like, you know, fear of sexual harassment or not being paid the same, you know, all those kind of microaggressions that women are subject to, like every second of their lives. And the way women publicize those issues and deal with them is to use humor. But men, they're not going to find it funny because they haven't a clue. I think that's part of it. There is nothing in it for them to identify with. And then, when you own a certain amount of territory, and men own, well, a lot of territory, but they have had the control over what is funny and what isn't for a long time. And when you control something, you're not going to give it away for nothing. It's territorial, their hold on the comedy arena. So I think they're the two main reasons. And then it just becomes, self-perpetuating. Women aren't funny. Who was it who said it? Christopher Hitchens, was it? Yeah. So. Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't just him. Like, I mean, men were ready to receive that. And then, of course, when women hear that, it's incredibly bad for the confidence. I mean, I think for women, it's hard. Being in the world is hard because we're constantly pushing against closed doors. And speaking for myself, it doesn't take much to deflate me, or rather it didn't. I've got tougher over the years. But, if you're already uncertain about your abilities and somebody says, you are appallingly bad at this, please, I am embarrassed for you, I'm sweating with shame for you, never ever try this again. A lot of us would go, God, right, okay, yeah, I am appalled by myself and I will never try again. So yeah, lots of reasons. But the wonderful thing is that now, we have lots of representation, and the Comedy Women in Print Prize is so great. And the long list, 14 really diverse books, like from Jeanette Winterson, like to kind of very commercial popular fiction. And they're all great. And I read all the submissions, and I could have easily put 30 books on the long list, easily. So, like, if you're looking for something for your lockdown reads, check out the long list. There'll be something for you, definitely. It's something for everybody. Thanks.
Cool. I was just looking at the comments. There's a lot of love for your hair.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't see the comments.
They're right there on the left.
Okay, my hair has been a nightmare. I have been trying all day to make my hair okay for tonight. Now the fringe did pretty much comply, which for that much thanks. But the rest of it looked a bit kind of, gothy and streely, and I just thought I'd try the side plait. Thank you so much. It was a risk, and I very much appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, I mean, if I turned around, you might be a little bit disappointed. There's lots of clips and things holding it in place. But then this bit here is nice. Thank you. That is very, very lovely of you. Thank you so much.
Right, and then going back to feminism, there's a lot of young Irish women writers, feminists. Some of them have quoted you as being an influence.
That's a lovely question. Did you make that up?
Yeah, how does that make you feel, and how do you feel about those writers?
I feel so honoured and so proud and so delighted. I mean, it's very odd. Like, I still think of myself as young and not established. And I was thinking today, Jesus Christ, I am the owl one that sometimes get referenced. But that's a great feeling. And it is such a joyous thing as a woman and an Irish woman. And we were always so kind of told to shut up and know our place, to see all these fabulous people. Like, I read the Nisha Dolan book over the weekend, Exciting Times, and it is just so funny and so smart, and she's so copped on, and she's clever. And then there's been so much love for normal people and for Sally Rooney. But there are loads, like, great writers coming out of Northern Ireland, like Michelle Gallen and Anna Burns, who wrote Milkman. And I mean, that was not the inaccessible book that the booker said it was. I found Milkman to be very moving and very accessible. And then there's loads of essay writers like Sinead Gleeson, or oh my God, my poor head, the amazing woman. It'll come to me. Menopause brain, jelly, forgets everything. Oh my God, you know her. anyway, yeah, it is a wonderful feeling to see how just they're not afraid. And if anyone references me in that, sometimes they say that when they were teenagers, they read their mother's copy of Watermelon and stuff like that. And that makes me feel fabulous. No, it's lovely. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, back to your books. So how Bex is asking, how much do you plot your books in advance?
How much do I plot my books in advance? I don't plot them at all. Grownups was an aberration. Usually my books are entirely character driven. And I am writing a book at the moment, and I mean, my head isn't working the way it would normally work. And it's difficult because I'm trying to write about relationships, and you do need events. And I have no sense of, normally instinct will kind of lead me. I mean, I do make a lot of mistakes and I write stuff and it has to be cut, and and I have to kind of get back to the starting point and try again. But mostly I don't plot because for me, my character mightn't want to do a certain thing by the time they get there. I find the idea of a plot very constricting. It is, yeah, in fact, like today I was writing and it wasn't what I had hoped to write. And I ended up going off kind of down a side road that I hadn't anticipated at all. And I just let myself go. I wrote it and I thought, I don't really know if this is going to be useful or not, but it was interesting. And a couple of things did kind of come out of it. And that's how I write. But like, for anyone else who wants to write or is writing, you do it your way. I mean, I say it a million times, but there is no wrong way to write a book. And a lot of people like the security of a structure. And like, I have friends who know exactly what's going to happen in each chapter, like in each 54 chapters before they write the first word. And that's what they need. But I feel I wouldn't know, I wouldn't be able to find out what was going on if I had to go to a rigid plan. So no, but each to their own. And, just because I do it this way, if you're finding another way of doing it, work away, vaya con Dios. Okay.
Okay, do you want to read a bit?
Okay, I'm going to read a little bit for you.
Sure. Incidentally, if people want to ask questions, if they put them in the comments,
yeah.
I'm trying to keep an eye on it. Coming up.
Ask whatever you like. I mean, it doesn't have to be about grown-ups. It doesn't even have to be about books or writing. It can be about anything, like, as you say, hair or nieces or whatever you like. I'm going to put on my goofy reading glasses. I apologize. Right. This is chapter 38. And this is about a character called Jessie, who is a very dynamic woman. And in some ways, there are things about her that I identify with, but mostly I'm terrified by her energy. June already. How did that happen? Jessie slung some Middle Eastern food onto the dining table. Next month I'll be 50. And seriously, what's the age when a person finally feels safe and secure? Because I really thought it would have happened by now. She surveyed the dining table. Fried halloumi, baba ganoush, hummus, olives, pita bread. She'd done a lot with her life. She had 5 children, a happy marriage. It was happy, wasn't it? Running a profitable company, employing more than 50 people. Her life was a success. She'd forgotten water glasses. Turning back towards the kitchen, she wondered if anyone really liked her. She was dogged by a recurring sense that everyone just put up with her. And Christ, she'd almost toppled over. It was these bloody shoes. Ocean Woo Park slides. They were lethal, but she wore them every chance she got to reduce the cost per wear. Poor impulse control. That was another thing she despised about herself. She should never have tried on Ocean's present. As soon as she'd slip-slap down the stairs in them, the soles were too scratched to be gifted or returned. She'd been secretly delighted for about half an hour. Then the guilt arrived. There wasn't the money for a spontaneous self-gift of Spency shoes. For all her giddy insistence that there was enough money swilling around, she knew, oh, she knew that her spending verged on out of control. No need for her to see Cara's accounts, because lodged deep in her soul was an internal calculator. Most of the time she stayed resolutely deaf to its incessant clicking, but now and again, often just before she fell asleep at night, it suddenly became like a fruit machine that had hit the jackpot. Neon price tags would start flashing. The staff party, the school fees, the over-tipping, the crazy dear jacket for Saoirse because she was a good girl, the first aid course for Bridie because she wouldn't shut up about it, the smartwatch for poor Johnny because she worried that he felt neglected. Carrying 4 glasses, she shuffled back into the dining room. She couldn't chance any striding movements in these lethal feckin' shoes. Christ, she'd ordered a lot of food. Johnny came in and stopped short. Jessie, there's enough here to feed half of Aleppo. And more in the kitchen. A Syrian speciality made with lamb, cherries and pomegranate molasses. She'd made that dish herself, the only one of the entire meal, because she hadn't been able to buy it anywhere in Dublin. Me and my bougie notions, Ferdia says. Apparently I can't talk to someone for more than a minute without inviting them over. He's a cheeky feck, but maybe this time he has a point. So I leave it there. Thank you. I hope that gave you some flavour. Flavour, you see, pun there, with the food and all. And I hope you enjoyed my glasses and my goofy face. I'm actually going to show you something. I'm going to put the glasses back on and show you something. When I go on a train, and if I am lucky enough to get 4 seats to myself, I put on these glasses and I read a newspaper. And when new people get on the train, I look at them like this and I smile in the hope that they are afraid of me and they won't sit beside me.
Black sweet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about the sweet. Yeah, if I'm eating wine gums, and usually I am, if I have a black one, I cover my front tooth and smile. And nobody sits anywhere, like they're way off into the next carriage.
And that includes me.
And that includes him. Yes. God love you. You put up with so much.
I do.
He does.
So I was going to ask you about the end of books. Because we asked about the beginning.
Yes.
Just happy endings.
Oh,
we
yes.
do like happy ending. Now, obviously, there's the Oscar Wilde quote that the good end happily and the bad unhappily. That's what fiction means.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, and that's what I like. I didn't know that quote, but that is what I like. Like, I feel 2 things. I feel life is hard and we need hope. I also feel life can often be happy. And why not reflect that in fiction? And I know that I have just contradicted myself, but kind people say to me, really kind people who think that I might have a little spark of something, they say, if you knocked off the happy endings, you might be taken seriously. And I thank them for their kindness and their concern. But I have no desire to write different kinds of books. Like, I like a happy ending when I read. Well, I suppose I don't always. It depends on what I'm looking for. You can tell if you're not going to get a happy ending, really, I think. And now I'm saying happy ending a lot, and that has another meaning, and I have to stop. No, I like an ending to be hopeful. I think my characters go through a lot in any of my books. And I suppose, having been through stuff myself, I think most dreadful things eventually ease. And you come into a time where, like, things are bearable or things are better than bearable. And I need to remember that. And I like to write that as well, that, like, no one in life has a smooth, perfect ride. Like, awful stuff is going to happen to us, and things that we never anticipated. I think the most painful things, for me anyway, were the things that I really never saw coming. It is so shocking. And then, mercifully to this point, and I'm touching wood, everything terrible has changed and moved, and I've been better able to deal with things, and I like that feeling of hope. And also, with any life, there are many happy endings. Like, you could stop life at several points and say that can be where we stop the book, because at that particular point everything is pretty good. And obviously they'll keep on living and things will flow differently and weird stuff will happen and sometimes bad, and then things will be rocky and unpleasant for a while, and then things will in some way improve, and then you could stop it again. So that's my view on happy endings. Every life has many of them, and let's end a particular story at the nice bit.
Okay, I saw a lovely question going flying past. I didn't see who asked it, but it was about seeing in the acknowledgements you thanking other authors like Leanne and Jojo and
of course
and so on. And so they were just asking about the friendship and support between authors.
It's lovely. It is, there's this myth that, women are bitches to each other, and I just feel so lucky that there are so many great books to read, and that there are so many great authors. And I mean, Jojo has always been so lovely to me. And Leanne, I met Leanne a long time ago in Sydney, like 20 years ago. And Leanne has two sisters who also write. And the last time we were in Australia, we went for afternoon tea in this beautiful place, and it was just, I cannot tell you what it was like to be with those three fabulous writers, and they're all really different to each other. And I mean, I suppose like in Ireland there is a really supportive community, and I think it's got stronger as there are more of us. It's a wonderful thing. There is, a real solidarity and a real, I want, like every chance I get, I will, publicize other women's books. And I especially love if I get the chance to do like a first novel. And it's just, there are so many great writers and there's so many great books. And on a personal level, it is just so lovely. Like, Kathy Kelly and I are very good friends, or Liz Nugent, or Louise O'Neill, to pick up the phone and go, I hate my book. I am useless. I am all washed up. I am a busted flush. I'm a torn docket. And for them to go, I feel like that too. Or, yeah, you said that before. Like, it's lovely to have a colleague who will say, oh yeah, I went through that with my whatever. And yeah, it's real. And then, all the Irish writers that were writing, around the time when I started, like Patricia Scanlon, Sheila O'Flanagan, Kathy Kelly, there's a real kind of a bond. So yeah, and it's lovely to go to a launch or something like that. To celebrate another person's book, but then you meet loads of people, like fabulous people. Yeah, it's lovely. And it has been something, a lesson for me, because when I was younger and I suppose back in my drinking self, I was so frightened about anybody else having success. Like, I felt like the world was a zero-sum game. And if somebody got something, it meant that there was less left over for me. And now I've learned it's the opposite. Like, the more love you give, the more there is to give. And I get so much delight out of getting the opportunity to big up somebody else's book, and then the connections that I get from people because of that. It means so much to me. So, one of the things I'm grateful for having learned is to live with generosity of spirit is actually, it's a very unpainful way. It's the opposite of painful. It's a very heart-filling way. God, I really went on there. Sorry about that.
No, it's good. No,
okay.
We like the long answers. We like the long books.
Okay. All right.
But sort of related to that, I saw a question from, it's gone, I can't see the name, but just asking about any tips for overcoming self-doubt when writing your first book. But as you say, you obviously still have the self-doubt.
Yes. Yeah. The self-doubt never goes. This is what I do. I expect the first version of any sentence to be woeful, to be appallingly terrible. You've got to allow yourself to write shite. And you've got to allow yourself to not overthink it. Just lash anything down. It doesn't matter if it's lumpy, if the grammar is awful, if the sentences aren't even finished. If you have a sense of something, just do it. Just do it, do it, do it. Don't stop at the end of each sentence and go, oh, just do it. And when you've kind of got the shape of something, anything, then you can go back. And you don't have to write the entire book in one day. In one day, you can only do one day's work. Then I make a contract with myself every morning, well, every weekday morning, that I will write for an hour, even if it is agony, even if it's like getting blood out of a turnip, and even if it's just going back over old stuff and reading through it and changing commas and stuff like that. I've often said it, that spending time with my book is a worthwhile thing to do. Even if I'm not sort of achieving anything in terms of word count, it's still, reading over old stuff can provide a door in. Writing like a lot of arty stuff, creative stuff, you're creating something ostensibly from nothing. Like, it is kind of frightening to be sitting there looking at a blank screen and thinking, I need to find things in me and it's frightening when you feel like there isn't anything. But most writing comes from the subconscious, the self-conscious, the subconscious. And you need to, it's not always easy to just dive in there and start pulling stuff out. You have to kind of mesmerize your way in, if that makes any sense. To kind of move from the logical brain into the dreaming, creative-y side. And for me, reading stuff I've already written. And actually, another great piece of advice that I was once given was, when you finish on a particular day, to leave it unfinished, and so that the next day you have somewhere to start. You know, even if you've written like four sentences out of a scene that may or may not happen, to just have that as kind of a present from yesterday's self to today's self for you to start writing. But you must remember that most creative people are sensitive and doubt themselves all the time, and that the self-doubt just is part of it, and to not let it overwhelm you, to work with it, or to say, yeah, I know, I can hear the voice telling me I'm absolutely crap, but try and listen to another voice that says, but I want to write this. I want to write this, and I owe it to myself to do it. If you could try to cancel out the negative self-talk with, it doesn't have to be ludicrously positive. You know, it doesn't have to be go Packers and all of that. Do you know, like, we're not all Americans. Do you know what I mean? Like, but it can be like, yes, well, that was a good paragraph I wrote, and I'm liking my character, and I believe in my plot. You know, just try and balance it. I really wish you well, whoever you are. And to anyone out there who's trying to write, it is, I'll say one more thing and then I'll stop. The pain of not writing a book is much greater than the pain of trying to and doing it badly. You owe it to yourself. You know, we only get one life. Do it. Do it. Oh, yes. And perfectionism is the enemy of the good, or there's some sort of thing like that. Don't try and be perfect. Don't even try and be good. Just try and get something done. It can be awful, but just make sure it's done. Bon chance, my brave.
And then specifically, a couple of people have asked about writing during the current strangeness.
Okay. I am finding it almost impossible to get anything done at the moment. And there's a real reason for this. And, you know, I've heard so many people say this. And to the point, like, I mean, I was trying to write a small thing today, just a little book thing. And I simply couldn't. The words were like, not even a foreign language. Just trying to do a coherent sentence was impossible. And it is because we're all very, very frightened. We're all in fight or flight or freeze mode. And that means we are really alert to danger. You know, and it's primal. And when we know we're in danger, all our cognitive functions go into scanning the horizon, looking for the threat. And when we are that kind of triggered, it's not possible for our imagination to work, because the minute we start retreating into our imagination, we've our eye off the horizon. And so it's like a safety switch to try and keep us safe, or to try and keep us at least alert to the danger. So there is a genuine reason why you can't write at the moment, or why you're finding it really difficult. I mean, obviously it doesn't apply to everyone. I've heard people say that, like, it is such a pleasure for them to kind of retreat into their imaginary world where we're not dealing with a global pandemic. But for most people, and I am one, it is hellishly difficult. It is much, much, much harder than usual. So go easy on yourself. Lower your expectations and then lower them a bit more. And then try. And try, as I say, if the pain of not doing it is greater than the pain of doing it. But these are exceptional times. So easy does it. But do it if you want to.
Okay, a couple of people have asked about the painting behind us.
The painting! Oh my God, I painted it. Hold on, I'll duck my head. Can you see that? We can't see it all. Hold on, if I move the...
I can...
Okay, he's going to move the camera.
This will probably end in disaster.
Yes.
No, we'll see it a bit.
Yeah. Yes, I painted that. That is one of mine. I had to stop all the painting as well, because I can only do one thing. I can't multitask, and so if I'm painting, I can't think about writing, and I'd rather think about writing at the moment. Hard and all as it is. But thank you very much. I hope they asked about it in a nice way.
They did, yes.
Oh yes, thank you.
They didn't say, what's that shit behind you?
Yeah. What's that rubbish?
That wasn't
yes.
That was a nice question from someone who saw you in Bury St Edmunds and said you had fabulous shoes then, and they're wondering what you have in your feet now.
Oh my God, I had my back then, thank you so much. I had my Roger Vivier trainers on. I love them more than life itself. And thank you. They are so comfortable, but they have a bit of a heel, because I am very short and I need a heel. Now, do you know what? I actually was afraid that this might happen tonight, and I didn't action on this. I am wearing my FitFlops, although they are beautiful too. Hang on, I'm going to stand up and show them. I will show you one.
Nope, it's not on.
Oh!
That's going to end in disaster.
Yeah, another one that's going to end in tears. They are my FitFlops. Again, you know that thing about what would you take if your house was on fire? I would take these. They are my best friends. My sister Katrina has a pair as well. We bring them on holidays. Like, if I was going away for a night, I would bring them. Again, they give me a heel. They're so comforting, and then they have bobbles which make them so cute, and they are, forgive me if I am offensive here, but when I first got them, I described them as feet heroin, because they just fill my feet with euphoria. They take away all pain and all worry and just make my feet feel euphoric. Yeah, FitFlops. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, Kerry asks, what's the most surprising thing you've discovered about yourself while writing?
What's the most surprising thing I've discovered about myself? I'll tell you, I've discovered I'm a hard worker, because it's like my life was divided into two. Like, until 30 and a half, when I was 30 and a half, I stopped drinking. And prior to that point, I was not a useful functioning member of society. I was defeatist and not productive and not reliable and really lazy. And I always knew I was a lazy person. I was ashamed of it, But and that I can finish things, and that I can finish big projects, like, that gives me a huge amount of pride. Because I felt like such a loser and a waster. And, I've stuck with books over a couple of years, and I've stuck with them when I've despaired. And you know, with most of my books I've gone through that real cold fear of thinking I am way in over my head here and I am not going to be able to make this one work. And yeah, there's a huge pride in me that I've been able to do that. So, and that, you know, for someone with kind of low self-esteem, that makes me feel like good about myself. Thank you. That was lovely.
Okay, now there's a question up there from Britta Hay.
Britta! Oh my God, hello! How are you? Hang on. How does it feel to know my mother is one of your biggest fans? She buys every book as soon as Britta, oh my God! Are you still in Jamaica? I have to know. How can we contact each other? We'll find a way. We'll find a way. Well, obviously you're on Facebook. I'll come and find you on Facebook. Tony is on Facebook. I am so honoured that your mother would like my books. This is so weird. Britta and I knew each other. I'm trying to think how long ago. Like it was well over 25 years ago in London. And then Britta went back to the States and then Jamaica. And then I came to Ireland. We lost contact. And I don't know how. But it's so funny to meet, weird and lovely, to meet somebody from my misspent past. It's very healing, if that you know. Thank you, Britta. We'll be in touch. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you.
Okay, now Carol asks, do you write with a particular market in mind? Does the writing travel successfully, or is a lot of humour need to be tailored according to nationality?
I don't write with any particular market in mind. That kind of gives me the shudders. I write, and this, forgive me, I write for me. The question I ask myself all the time is, if I hadn't written this, would I want to read it? And that is the only way that I can write a decent book. I think, well, for me anyway, if you start thinking about, well, that country liked this aspect with the last book, but that country didn't like those bits, then it's sort of like writing by committee. For me, that would feel really cynical. I like authenticity. And the thing is, it doesn't always work, but I'm not sure it would ever work if I was trying to, you know, it makes me feel icky. And the idea of humor and stuff. It's so funny, when I wrote Watermelon, I thought they'll hopefully get it in Ireland, but I really, really thought nobody outside of Ireland would have a clue, you know, because there's slang, and the people are Irish, and the sentence structure is different to, you know, Hiberno English is different to other versions of English. And it was a huge surprise that that other English-speaking countries got it. I mean, in fairness now, when I'm published in the US and Canada, sometimes there, you know, a lot of kind of translation has to happen. Although with Grownups, there's been almost none. There's been very few, which is great. And then when foreign languages started being interested in my books, I have no idea what people relate to, and I've no idea how humor translates, you know, because I don't speak any other language, even though I delude myself that I can speak actually several. All the Scandinavian ones, I am fluent in them, except I'm not actually really, which is a shock, especially when we're in Stockholm and we're trying to talk to people. That's how I do it. But again, other people have been hugely successful by angling their writing at a particular market or in response to, you know, the latest trend in publishing. And again, no judgment. It's just, I don't think I could do that. I hope that's an okay answer, you know. But what is for me is not for everybody, you know. Truly, no judgment. Thank you.
Right, now Sheena was asking a question dear to my heart, but do we have any pets? She's been having to self-isolate and her dog has been her main support.
Yeah, we don't have any pets yet. Yes, we're getting round to it. Poor himself. He loves dogs. Like, you really love dogs. He loves, like he was brought up with dogs. Like, and he has such a kind, soft heart. But I was always afraid of dogs because I was afraid of fecking everything. And I didn't grow up with pets. And like, Mammy Keys is also afraid of everything. And I can't, I mean, I was borderline phobic with dogs. And then in 2009, I had a ferocious bout of rickety mental health where I was indescribably frightened of everything, much worse than the way I had been. And when I actually, no, it was during it, like, I lost my fear of dogs. Dogs seemed nothing in compared to the rest of the terror. And I'm not entirely not. Oh yeah, and the other thing that happened was my brother Tig got this beautiful boxer pup called Katie, and she was so small and I suppose well loving and needy and just really wanted to be loved. And seeing the vulnerability in Katie changed me. I'm still not entirely 100%, but we talk about it a lot. We did have imaginary dogs for a long time, Patch and Socks. They ran away.
You wrote an excellent story.
I did write a story about them. Yeah, they're on the QE too. Yeah. I mean, I think we should get a dog. It's like having a baby, though. You know, it's like there's never a right time. Except in that case, it's always the right time.
True. While we're on the subject of animals, Animal Crossing. Why do you want a Nintendo Switch?
Yeah, I'm very suggestible and sort of, yeah, I was reading, you know, do you ever read Am I the Asshole on Twitter? It's just unbelievable. Like, people write in about, you know, a row they've had with somebody in their personal relations. And actually, I've read 2 Am I the Assholes where people have fallen out over playing Animal Crossing. And I have to say, I was interested in the sound of it because you create worlds. You know, you build places and you make things nice with lakes and stuff like that. And then the Redsers are seeing out their quarantine with Animal Crossing. And Dylan told me that it was only for 3+. Like, anyone over 3 can play it. So I thought,
you are over 3.
I am over 3, and I thought, well, I wanted to know, and I thought it might be something that I'd enjoy. You know, I love anything to do with, I don't know, homes and landscapes, and it sounds interesting. But the thing is, I'm not ready yet because I'm still trying to write, and I feel because I'm so prone to addiction that if I start and I like it, it's game over. You know, that's it. That's it for the rest of the pandemic, you know, for however long it lasts, and longer. Yeah. It's not, it's there, and I'm aware of its allure. It's like alluring me, but I'm resisting at the moment. Yeah, but we'll do it. We'll have a hobby. It'll be a hobby.
I really have hobbies.
I know he has hobbies. I haven't.
Although
he says all I do is, what did you say? Sleep, work, and go to AA meetings. Yeah. I have no hobbies. I had a hobby for a while. The painting was a hobby.
You've had lots. And the cooking.
Yeah, but they only come in bursts,
They're
you know?
Sudden wild enthusiasms.
They are, and then they go. See, his hobbies are, you know, moderate and ongoing. Not that feckin' moderate, though, going up mountains, do you know? With ice axes and things. That is not moderate. Don't tell me you are not addicty.
Well, I haven't done it for a little while.
Yeah, because we're in quarantine.
That's right. So Rebecca asked, what's the thing you've missed most during quarantine?
What's the thing I've missed most? Hannah and Emma, an old woman. Hugs. All of the Keyses together being incredibly rude to each other and rowdy. And I just I can't tell you how much I love it. And Tomas was born in January, and I've had about 2 goes of him, because partly I was away working, publicising the book, and then, like, no sooner on my back than we're all in feckin' lockdown. And I mean, I see pictures of him. Oh my God! Like, he's just yummy, and you know the way children's babies' mouths are. They look like dolphins. Like, they look like they're smiling all the time. You know, these kind of really happy, beautiful faces. And he's got beautiful skin and beautiful eyes, and he's ginormous. And poor old woman keeps saying, sure, Thomas Shane will have started school by the time we're allowed to see him again. You know, it's really hard for her. The hugs also, I really miss the blow dries. I really miss them. Like, a good 90% of my awake time at the moment is spent worrying about my hair. The colour, the fringe, the texture. It's just all a bit gothy and dreadful. I really miss blow dries. I'm being slightly, you know, please, Daily Mail, if you're listening, please don't. Just don't. Do you know what I mean? It was tongue in cheek. You're always at that. Don't. Thank you. Obliged. Thank you.
All right. So while we're on the subject of old women,
yes.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about her because in Ireland today there was a lot of fuss about the amount of riding and nudity in normal people, but Mammy Keys has a different take on normal people.
Yeah. She watched it. Was it last night? Was it last night? It was on in Ireland.
Yeah, I guess maybe. Given that the fuss.
Oh, it was on today. Yeah. And so she rang me. She goes, "Well, did you watch it?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Does that happen at all?" And I, you know, was all set to go on, because it's so, oh God, it's so beautiful, and young love and teenage love and that intensity and all. And she goes, "Does she get murdered?" This is the lovely girl, Marian. And it's like, oh my God, what's wrong with you? And I said, "No." And she goes, "Does anyone get murdered?" And I think she's obviously reading too many thrillers, I think. And I said, "No." And she goes, "Well, does she get what goes?" And, I'm trying to explain to her that nobody gets murdered. And she says, but what happens? And then I said, "Well, nothing, if that's what you're looking for." And so she said she wouldn't be watching anymore. And then, oh, yeah. Then there was the huge fuss on Liveline. And she rang me again. And she said, "Sure, look, it isn't for my equals." And what did she say? Oh, yeah. And then she pretended that she was all cool about it. And she goes, "Is it nothing but sex, and more sex?" And I said, "Nothing but sex, and more sex." And she goes, "Well, sure, I've seen it all. It's not my first rodeo." Whatever she meant by that. Yeah. There are, maybe Sally Rooney would put some murders in her next book just to please her. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Excellent. So someone was asking, do you base your characters on real people, or is it your own experience? Or
I don't base it on real people, because
not even me.
No, darling, not even you. No, especially not you. No, I don't. And I'll tell you why. Lots of reasons. One, I think it would be so mean to put a real person in it. I just think it would be the meanest thing. However, I will say caveats in that, like, every character I create is channeled through me. So obviously it's picking up things that I've noticed about people over the years. I mean, I'm not one of those creepy writers who kind of sits behind people on the bus and, like, earwigs on their conversation and writes down things, because I'm not. But I am very interested in people, and I'm alert to people, and I'm, interested in what makes a person unique and what people give away about themselves. And hopefully the idea is that when I come to create a character, that I have this invisible database of character tics, and that they come together to create a new person. But it doesn't mean that I don't accidentally, and it is accidentally, reference a person, and it is entirely unintentional. Or it doesn't stop people seeing either themselves or other people that they know in my characters and come up to me and go, Jesus Christ, I can't believe you put the X person in the book. And other things like my mother, one of her favorite sayings is, don't be like a tree over a blessed well, you know, which means basically, you know, like, oh, for God's sake, life is awful, you know. And she says that. And in Watermelon, one of the characters, might actually have been the mother, says that. And Ma'am decided that she was obviously entirely that person because of the one thing that she said. And that wasn't my intention. But again, you've got to let people think what they want. My intentions are good. What's the word? My execution may not always be perfect, but my intentions are good. And I suppose one final thing is that people always see themselves differently to the way the rest of the world sees them. And people think they are a certain way, but other people mightn't see them that way. So they might think, oh my God, that person is obviously me. But I would think that that person was nothing like the person in the book. That's kind of long-winded, but I hope that answers it.
Good stuff. All right, I think we're coming to the end.
Well, we'll do one more.
Will we do one more?
Yeah, because we're a bit late starting because of the technical difficulty.
Are you still able to stock up with Percy Pigs?
Yes.
Debbie.
Yes, thank you, Debbie. I have here my dealer. Yes. We go to the supermarket. When I say we, he goes to the supermarket once a week. And in fact, didn't you have great success the Monday before last, wasn't it? Or was it this Monday? It was last week. He got 2 bags of the Easter Percy Pigs for 75 cents each. And honest to God, the yellow bunnies in the Easter ones are just, I think they're pineapple flavour.
I don't know, I haven't been allowed to eat one.
Oh yeah, you haven't got love them. He's allowed to have the rotten out white ones, the sheep, and it must be a sheep in the Easter one as well. That has no flavour. But yes, yeah. I have been kept, I mean, they're hidden, and I have to say to him, please, can I have 4 Percy Pigs? And he'll give me the 4, because, I mean, I don't know about you, but all I want to do is eat. I just want to eat and be asleep. And Percy Pigs are very nice, and if I had access to them, I would eat them all, and that really wouldn't be helpful. It wouldn't be helpful. But yes, thank you. Yes, I am well stocked with Percy Pigs. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, we'll just say thank you to the bookshops.
Thank you. Yes, thank you everybody for tonight, and to the 4 indies who organised all of this, to Lingham's, to Booka, to Forum Books, and to Booker, and they all have copies of Grownups in if you are interested. And thank you to everyone who came tonight, and thank you for the questions. And I hope you got the answers that you needed. Thank you very much. Would you join me in thanking himself, who is so good? He hates the sort of thing, like, he is really, really shy. He's shy and he's quiet, and you've been so brave. You've been fabulous. Thank you. But thank you. This has been, the hour like rattled by, like it really did. Thank you for your loveliness. Stay safe. Mind yourselves. Wash your hands.